It is important to consider your organisation's culture primarily because it drives your identity and performance. There are three aspects of your identity as an organisation that you should consider: your values, your culture, and your brand. Your values are how the leaders of your organisation want it to be perceived. The culture is how the organisation actually operates, and the brand is how your external stakeholders view the organisation. These three aspects of your identity are different, which creates three gaps. The values-culture gap is the focus for cultural change and is the difference between senior managers' strategic values and the way employees carry out their work. This values-culture gap is important to understand and minimise. Reducing this gap helps the organisation to achieve its objectives, as well as helping people to see how and where they fit into the organisation. To understand the nature of this values-culture gap, you first of all need to understand the values of the organisation. Perhaps these are already well defined, but it's beneficial to reconsider the potential range of values that are actually at play in the employees of your organisation. There are 8 dimensions of culture or values that need to be considered. Your employees have positions on these values, whether or not they are a reflection of company values. It is beneficial to aid your understanding of this gap with an independent diagnostic. The values-culture gap can be different for different departments, divisions, and geographic locations. In this example, the largest gaps are in the values associated with attitudes and empowerment. Each of these values dimensions is made up of different aspects. If we focus on developing a dimension of culture, it is very helpful to understand which aspects need attention. The value of empowerment, for example, has 12 aspects of varying degrees of importance for each organisation. In this drill down on the empowerment dimension, the largest gap means that people do not feel empowered to bring change. Having understood the gaps between values and culture, an organisation then needs to develop a strategy to bridge these gaps. To do so, 3 levels need to be considered. The first level of culture is the artefacts. These are the most observable aspects. We can, for example, begin to tell stories about people who are role models for the values you want to lift. Other artefacts include the language we use, the ceremonies we have, the processes and rules that are established, and the slogans and symbols we communicate. The second level of culture is the espoused values. This is what the organisation says about itself. These are reflected in its goals and philosophies. For example, you can change a culture of a lack of accountability on this level by revamping your performance management system. Other espoused values are our strategies and structures. The third level of culture is the tacit assumptions. These are the deeply ingrained beliefs, assumptions and values and are not easily changed. Other aspects of tacit assumptions are the widely held beliefs about the organisation and the often unspoken rules in an organisation. These assumptions are also affected by a person's upbringing, including their national culture. There are key employee touchpoints that we ought to consider when intentionally embedding a new culture. These touchpoints include the modelling done by leadership, coaching, counselling or sharing of challenging experiences, what sort of people we want to recruit, our induction and onboarding processes, training people to operate in this culture, reflecting these values in our performance management processes, rewarding and recognising people who show this culture, consistently communicating values-based messages, and measuring improvements in culture. A comparison of cultural strengths from year to year will help you understand the effect of your efforts. In this organisation, there was consistent growth in caring and attitude over 2 years, rapid growth in teamwork in 2012, as well as empowerment in 2011. Understanding your culture and changing your culture to reflect your values will help you to lead your organisation to maximise your effectiveness, as well as deliver a consistent message to your stakeholders.